Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel where you get daily and consistent hot topics in music, entertainment, reality TV, and more. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out when we go live, when there's breaking news, or when we upload. I have to do a recap of the Real Housewives of New York. And despite what everyone has been saying, including Jill Zarin. All right, let's talk about Jill Zarin. Jill Zarin, who I would love to come back to the Housewives of New York, is talking. As you already know, Jill has not been on the show. Oh my God, in how many years? This is season what? Season 13? It's been a very long time since Jill Zarin was on the show. So Ebony K. Williams decided to go on IG Live last night. You know, after show, hear what the fans are saying. Well, Jill Zarin was in her comments and they went live together. And Jill Zarin dropped a lot of tea. That's what I love about Jill. That's why she's great for reality TV. She gives us what we want. She gives us what we want. One of the first things she says to Ebony, she said, "No offense, Ebony, but so far I'm bored. The season's boring so far. But I love these ladies and I trust that the season's going to pick up." And based on what Jill was saying and what we saw in the preview for next week, Heather's going to be called out by Leah. We'll get to my recap. I just want to focus on what Jill said. Jill, though, says that Heather also talked about her on Watch What Happens Live. And she says, "I don't think I've ever mentioned Heather. I don't know why she came for me in this Watch What Happens Live interview." So she says that. And she says that she's bored. Ebony promises that the season's going to pick up. She also reveals some tea, though, in regard. Well, she also, look, there's a lot. I'll post a little clips here so you guys can see what exactly Jill said.
So this is no hate for you. I'm a little bored. It hasn't gotten started yet.
I understand.
You know what I mean? You probably haven't even watched. I don't even know if you've watched every season, but I've been living this for a long time. And first of all, I think COVID limited you to people, places, and things that you could do. Yeah. You know, so how many times are we going to hear about drunk Sonia and, you know, but I did like them starting with Heather for next week, like getting ready.
We're getting revved up, Jill. That's what I was going to say.
That's a dinner I wish I was going to, because I got to tell you, she also talked about me. I don't know her. I've never met Heather, ever. I've never met her. And listen, I don't think I've ever said anything about her. I've said plenty about a lot of people, but she happens to be one person I don't think I've ever said anything about. And she came hard at me on Andy's show one night. She came for me.
You think, Jill, do you think she was doing that for relevancy or to feel, you know, because she came
she's coming on the show, but I don't have any hate for that. Like I said tonight, I said, listen, she's got to say all this stuff, because if she doesn't come on, if she comes on and just says, "Hi," you know, whatever, boring, you're next. She wanted to come on the show, right? She wanted to be a housewife again, which is fine. No shame in that game. But she's going to have to say some stuff and hear some stuff in order to do it. Which is why
don't worry. Don't worry. Leah McSweeney's got some stuff for her, honey.
But one of the other things that she said was that one of the producers one time said to her, "You don't fit in with the rest of the ladies." And she was like, "How is that possible?"
Point in time where I was talking to the producers, and one of the producers said to me, "Well, you know, Jill, you don't really fit in because you're not really connected to the cast. You're not really friends with them." And I was just like dumbfounded, because not only am I very good friends with multiple, almost every single housewife that's come on has somehow connected to me in some way in New York. So I was just very hurt by that comment someone said to me once. It was not nice.
Well, no, but listen, Jill, nice. You're amazing.
I'm connected to most of the original women that were on the show. We saw she brought Bethany on the show. That was a real friendship. I was actually shocked that she dropped that in her conversation with Ebony, that a producer says she does not fit in with the other ladies. And maybe because at the time Jill was starting to get iced out. You remember when she spoiled their trip and showed up on the trip to Ramona's trip, and she was like, "Hello." But there's actually real friendships there. I wouldn't mind seeing Jill come back, but based on what she said, she probably will never come back, especially for her relationship. Her guy's not one to be on a reality show, so we're not going to see Jill. But I thought it was funny to see Jill have this conversation with Ebony on the show. But speaking of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I'm going to give you a quick recap, because there wasn't a lot but so much that I have to say. First of all, I'm looking forward to next week's episode just because the Wells Fargo versus JP Morgan Chase. We're going to get to that in a second because I'm excited to see Sonia lose her mind. But they are in the Hamptons, and I have to give it to Ebony. I know a lot of people, because I'm Black and because Ebony's Black, they're assuming I'm going to like Ebony. I'm going to ride for Ebony. They probably felt the same way when I was talking about Garcelle. It's not my fault that Garcelle and Ebony are bringing it. Look, I do want to see Garcelle show up a lot more in this new season. We shall see. Look, I'm going to give it to, I'm a straight shooter. It don't have nothing to do with color. But I have to give it to Ebony. Ebony is showing so many layers on the show. We don't get that from so many of these people that come on the show. Ebony is talking about her debt. Ebony is talking about her relationships. Ebony's talking about her family struggles. She's talking about the conversations that are happening right now in regards to race. She's saying, like, this is the first time I've been around this many white people at one time. I enjoy that. I enjoy the fact that she's saying it. She's being upfront with these women, and you could see how uncomfortable they are, including when she brings up the conversation of the help to Luann first. And you can see Luann sort of like straighten up, like, oh God, let me not say anything crazy that's going to come across crazy on television. You can see it. I felt the nervousness in Luann's face. But I love the fact that Ebony's not afraid to address these conversations. She does so with Ramona at the winery, and Ramona appreciates it. But what Ramona doesn't appreciate is being called out for not allegedly donating her plasma because she says that she tested positive for COVID-19. So Leah, who's like a dog with a bone, is harping on it. And look, I get it. She was one of the people that would call out Ramona for hanging out at, during COVID when people were supposed to be quarantining, and Ramona was like here and there, whatever. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, but you don't like Leah. But I was open to Leah this season. But from the very beginning of the season, Leah has been just, my nerve. She's been working a nerve. But this episode, she worked my nerve again. And this is why. I get what she's saying. I don't appreciate Ramona lying about it. And look, maybe we needed her to call Ramona out to have a conversation. But I also think she's coming for Ramona to stay relevant on the show. Because Leah has nothing really that she's bringing to the show. Now she's having a fight with Ramona. Then she was trying to call out the other ladies and saying, why aren't you guys saying something about Ramona and, lying about donating her antibodies. And I agree with the way that Ebony was handled. She's like, you're not going to get anywhere by attacking Ramona in that way. And I love the fact that Ebony's like, you're my girl, but I'm going to let you know I don't agree with your approach. I get what you're saying and where you're coming from, but that's not the way I'm going to approach her with it. I do love the scene when Luann goes, because Ramona leaves the table, because Ramona loves to leave a scene, went to the bathroom, and Luann went to go check on her because Luann's trying to be a good friend. And Ramona's like, I'm in the bathroom with diarrhea. Like, why? Why? I don't want a revision or a throwback to Cartagena. No, I don't want that. I don't want to think about that. So fast forward. Let's fast forward. The ladies are out to dinner. Let's leave the wine. Look, wait, sidebar. Again, another reason why I love Ebony. Her taking food and putting it in her Birkin. I love you, Ebony. You're my girl, Ebony. I'm going to have to get an interview with Ebony. I'm going to start doing some more interviews. I haven't done interviews in a while. We're going to start to bring some more interviews on the channel because I know you guys want to hear from some of these housewives and reality stars. We're working on it. But I want to talk about the dinner table. I mean, I'm trying to think and make sure I'm getting everything, but I'm not going to harp on too many scenes. There were a lot of little crevices that I enjoyed when Sonia called out Luann about introducing herself as Luann to the driver as opposed to, because you remember that throwback scene with Bethany. Oh, it's Countess or Mrs. De Lesseps. Okay. Look, she's grown. She's grown. She's been to jail, y'all. She's been to jail. She has been knocked down a notch. She looks great, though. I give it to Luann. Countess Luann looks great. Fast forward to this dinner. At this point, they've left the winery. Sonia is already drunk. And look, I'm gonna preface this by saying I don't really love seeing Sonia this drunk. I don't know if she's gonna blame it on diuretics again or what she's going to blame it on. I don't love seeing Sonia like this because alcoholism is a real thing. Abuse of alcohol is a real thing. But at the same time, the things that she says and does when she's drunk like this, oh my gosh, her talking about Luann and Garth, and Garth, them calling Garth on FaceTime, then her calling her guy at JP Morgan Chase. And this is another reason why I love Ebony. I didn't realize JP Morgan Chase had given $30 billion to diversity and those initiatives. And she said that's why she's doing business with them. That's why she's going to do her mortgage with them. First of all, I hope JP Morgan Chase is doing better, because I've always said it's a rich person's bank, even though I do have multiple accounts with JP Morgan Chase. But I do feel like they could do better when it comes to the mortgages and things like that. But look, maybe they are. I haven't needed a mortgage right now. But I get where Ebony was coming from, and I'm glad she said it. I'm glad she said it on TV, because there are probably people like myself didn't know that JP Morgan was doing that. And Wells Fargo, although they may have better rates, what are they doing in regards to diversity? But Ramona bringing up, well, Wells Fargo is better. And then Sonia loses her mind. Wells Fargo's not my family. Y'all like that? Y'all like that? I love New York, y'all. I know it's the city I was born and raised in. I'm still here, but I trust that these women are going to bring a solid season. I love the addition of Ebony. Leah, I'm still on the fence, but at the same time, I get where Leah's coming from in regards to attacking Heather, but I feel like you're already to attack her and rile up Luann about what she said. But if she did say those things about Luann, I do think that is messed up. But let's look, can we talk about a parent, what people do offline here in New York? People, look, Frederick from the $1 Million Listing talking about his sobriety. There are a lot of these folks that are doing the little sugar candy, nose candy stuff. Just saying. There's a lot of people out there say no to. Anyways, we'll move on. As always, let me know your thoughts about the latest season and episode of The Real Housewives of New York. And I'll see you very soon.